Are you trout fishing but struggling to get the results you're after, or struggling to catch the amount of fish that you think you should be catching? Well, in this video, I want to list a few pretty common mistakes that I see people make, and if you're making these and you can just change a couple of things, you might be able to catch more fish. Now, I've been very fortunate to fish with a lot of people over the years, and I've been able to pick up on a lot of mistakes they've made, and I've been able to help correct them and help them catch more fish. And I see people on other YouTube channels, in other videos, making the same mistakes. So in this video, I'm going to count down from number 5 down to number 1 fishing mistakes that I see people make. And if you're making any of these, you might be able to just change them, and you might be able to help catch a few more fish. Number 5 is fishing downstream. If you're walking up a river or up a stream, you should always walk upstream. Now, there are times where fishing downstream is good, and I'll touch on that in a moment. But generally speaking, trout will face upstream. They sit in the river, they look, or the creek, they face upstream, and they wait for the food to wash down past them. They'll sit there and they'll just look up. They'll wait for crickets and grasshoppers. So if you're walking downstream, you're walking straight down towards them, and they see you coming and they spook. Trout have got very good eyesight, and the moment they see you, they're gone. They will go and hide under a log or under a rock or an undercut bank, and they might not come out for the rest of the day. Us anglers, we're a threat to the trout. They're very smart and they've got good eyesight. So you always want to be walking upstream, casting upstream, bringing your lure back down, or your bait if you're drifting bait, bringing that back down past the trout so that they see the lure or the bait, but they don't see you. Worth noting is that trout, unlike us, trout don't have the eyes at the front of their head. They've got them up here at the top of their head. So you can't walk right up behind them. You need to stand well back. If you get too close, they'll see you. They've got a very wide angle of view. In photography, you can get a really wide angle lens called a fisheye lens, and it's called a fisheye for a reason, because fish can see a lot. So you want to walk upstream and cast upstream and fish from well back so that the trout don't know that you're there. Now, there are times where you can fish downstream. Pretty much that is limited to really, really big, wide rivers. In some of the bigger rivers over in New Zealand and in America, some fly fishermen will actually go out into the river, they'll stir up the rocks with their feet, they'll cast out and they'll cast their nymph or their fly down past the disturbance that they're making, and they'll catch trout. But if you're in a smaller river, like most of our Australian rivers, there are some bigger rivers like the Goulburn where that might work, but in the most cases, the smaller rivers and the streams, the moment you go to walk downstream, the trout will see you coming. So mistake number 5 is fishing downstream. You catch a lot more fish by making your way upstream. Number 4 is clothing, choosing the right clothing. Don't wear anything too bright. Once again, trout have got very good eyesight, and if they see you coming, they'll hide. It's almost like when you're trout fishing, it's a bit like hunting for rabbits or deer or foxes. Hunters like to wear camouflage clothing or dark clothing. Trout fishermen should be the same. Some people believe that fish can see UV. So if you wash your clothes and there's a bit of UV in your clothes, the fish will see them. That's up for debate, I don't know. But I know that I feel a lot more confident walking upstream in really dark camouflage clothing. Checkered clothing is my favourite. I love flannelette shirts. This one's probably a bit too bright, but because it's checkered, this would be a better choice than, say, a solid white like that, or a solid dark blue like that. By being checkered, it helps break up my silhouette and just makes it a bit harder for the trout to see me. But if I just go out in a bright white shirt, the trout's going to see me coming from a mile away. So make sure you dress in some really dark coloured clothing. Checkered or camouflage or something is always going to be better. And that's another good tip to help you catch trout, because they will see you. Try and make yourself blend in more. Now, number 3, and this is a mistake that I see a lot of people make. In fact, probably most people that I fish with have made this mistake. They get all excited about fishing and they see a nice pool. They walk straight up to the pool to fish it, and they walk past a couple of good spots. In fact, I was watching another YouTube video the other day down the other side of Victoria, an Australian channel, and they'd done just that. They could see a nice pool. There was a nice log in about a foot of water. I would absolutely have run my lure past that log in the current, because the trout will sit under the log. Trout are very long and skinny. They're quite, I don't know what, streamline. we call it aerodynamic out of the water. I don't know what we call it under the water. Water dynamic, I don't know. But they're long and skinny so that the current can't drag them. They can sit in fast current. They will sit up under that log where there's probably not as much current. Even if it's only a little weeny bit of not much current, they can sit in there and wait for the food to drift past. You can cast into these mundane, unlikely looking spots and you can catch lots of fish. But a lot of people, they walk straight past and they've got their eyes on the prize. They see the really nice pool. They walk up to the pool and they fish the pool, and they often spook fish before they get to the pool, or they just completely miss fish. They miss out on opportunities. You'll catch more fish if you make sure you fish more water. Just recently I was fishing with Sonny and we'd fished a few really nice pools, and I cast into about probably this much water. It was nice and open, and I caught a really nice brown trout. He was out in the open looking for food, just sitting there waiting for something to come past, and it turned out to be my little soft plastic that went past. So don't overlook the mundane, unlikely looking spots. Fish more water. Don't just hop from pool to pool to pool to pool. Make sure you stop and fish all the little nooks and crannies in between. Any log that's falling on the water that's creating a bit of a backwater, even if it's shallow, trout will move into them places. So don't overlook them. By fishing everything, I can nearly guarantee that you will catch more fish. That's a mistake that I see a lot of people make. Now, number two is a mistake that I see people make, but it's also something that people question in my videos. So it's an opportunity now for me to explain things. Not changing lures enough. If you're fishing a stream and you're seeing trout and they're following your lure, but not hitting it, change. Change your lure. Change from a spinner to a minnow, or a minnow to a soft plastic, or even go to bait if you've got some bait hooks and some grasshoppers or crickets or worms or something. You have to make the change. If they're following the lure and not hitting it, there's usually a reason for it. Sometimes just something as subtle as a colour change. You might go from a black spinner to a yellow spinner, or a yellow spinner to a green minnow, or a minnow to a soft plastic with a bit of gold flake in it. There's been days, my two favourite colours of soft plastic are black and gold and black caviar, which is black and red by Strike Tiger. And there's been days where I've cleaned up on black and gold, but they haven't touched the black and red. Just making the single change of just changing the same lure, but one colour, one little flaky colour, made the world of difference. Now, people sometimes say to me on my channel, Robbie, if you're not catching any fish, why aren't you changing lures? I don't change lures unless I'm seeing fish. If you're walking up a stream and you're not even seeing any fish, the problem isn't the lure. The problem is probably the stream or the fish. Either the fish are spooked because there was fished yesterday or the day before, or they're just not on the bite for whatever reason, or there's maybe no fish in that spot. But if you are seeing fish, and you're spooking fish, or the fish are following your lure, if you're seeing trout and you're not catching them, that's when you want to change lures and just continually change. In some of my trout videos, some of my adventures, I'll change lures all day and still not catch any fish. Sometimes I might change 4 or 5 times before I find one that works, and quite often I'll get it right the first time. Just put one lure on, use that for the whole day. But the point I'm making is that if you're fishing, you're seeing fish, they're following your lures but not striking at them, make a change to a different colour or a different type of lure, and that can make a whole world of difference. Now, before I get into my number one biggest mistake that I see people make, I've got an honourable mention. I've put this in here as an honourable mention rather than another step, because it's not a mistake that'll stop you catching fish, but it's a mistake that will reduce the amount of fish that you catch. And it's a mistake that I see a lot of people make, and that is casting too far. You've walked up a stream and up a nice set of rapids and you get to a nice pool. So many people just go bang, straight up the top of the pool. They catch a fish. As they reel the fish in, the fish jumps and splashes, and it spooks everything in the entire pool. It spooks all the other fish, and then you catch one fish in the hole. So granted, you've caught the fish, you've done well, but you might have been able to catch 2 or 3 if you'd started at the back, just cast into the back. Quite often trout will sit at the back of the pool where the water's picking up momentum and feed at the back just before the water goes down into the rapids. They sit there waiting for grasshoppers to fall out of the tussocks or something. Always fish the back of the pool first, and then if you catch a fish, you only disturb the back of the pool, and then you can make another cast up to the front and you can catch another fish. Quite often, when a stream's healthy and it's got a lot of trout in it, quite often you can catch multiple trout in the one hole or the one pool by doing that, just casting at the back and working your way up. But obviously it depends on the size of the pool. If it's only a small little backwater, well, you just got to run the lure straight through it. But if you've got a nice deep open hole, start at the back and work your way up, and by doing so you'll increase your chances of catching more than one fish in that lovely bit of water. There's a nice looking pool here. I'll start my assault on that pool from way back here before I get too close and spook everything. Got him. Oh, he got off. I hit myself in the back of the head. He got off, the lure came back and hit myself in the back of the head. I'm thankful that I didn't catch my own ear. And let's keep fishing. I doubt very much whether another one will come back, although all that action was in the bottom end of the hole. I didn't just go straight to the top of the pool, so up there is unfished water. Here's something following it. Oh, he hit it. I almost caught a fish there after losing the other fish. That's exactly why I often been on about, fish the bottom of the hole first. That's the very reason why I say that to people. Hey, look at him, he opened his mouth, he's on it. Got him. Look at that. Bang, licked him straight up and he got off anyway. How good was that? So the first bit of action was here, and that second fish must have been up there, and because all the disturbance moves downstream, this fish had no idea that anything had happened. So because I cast up there, I've lured the fish from up there down to here. That's exactly why I always say to people, don't just go straight up to the good bit at the top of the hole, and fish your way up. Start at the back and fish your way up for that very reason. Got him. Look at that. And I've got another one. That was up a little bit further than where that other fish came out of. 3 in the one pool. One lost, one almost landed but still lost, and as of right now, one caught. See you later, mate. Don't. Now, number one is going too slow, fishing too slow. Everyone seems to do this. Nobody that I fish with fishes as fast as I do, except Sandy, the camo man. Him and I work at a very similar pace. But a lot of people without as much experience, they'll pull up at a hole and they'll cast. Trout have got very good eyesight, and in clear water they can see your lure from a mile away, and if they want it, they'll swim the full width of the river to get it. Now obviously if it's a really wide river, you want to make more and more casts because you've got more water to fish. The smaller the river, the less casts you want to make, and in most of the little creeks that I fish, which are only 1 metre or 2 wide in a lot of places, I'll get to a spot, I'll make 1 or 2 casts, then I'll keep going. I see people stand there, that trout aren't like Murray cod where you can just cast and eventually a cod might get angry and hit the lure. Trout aren't like that. They're either on or they're off. They're hungry or they're not. They'll bite or they won't. And with the water being clear and the good eyesight, if they want to bite, they'll do it in the first couple of casts. So make a couple of casts, move on, make a couple more, move on, make a couple more. Just keep on moving. That way you'll cover a lot more water and you'll find a lot more active fish. That's a mistake that I see so many people make, just going too slow. Just don't stuff around with them. Have a couple of casts and move on and fish those bits of water in between the pools. Folks, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you're making any of these sort of mistakes, hopefully you can just change a few things, and with a bit of luck, you might start catching a few more trout. Thank you all very much for watching.